Angela Cartwright, best known for her role as Brigitte von Trapp in the classic film The Sound of Music, has over the years shared memories and reflections about what it was like being part of one of the most famous movie productions in cinema history. And while the film itself is remembered as a joyful, musical masterpiece filled with iconic songs and beautiful scenery, her perspective as a child actress gives a more grounded and sometimes challenging look at what the experience was actually like behind the scenes, especially considering she was very young at the time and working in an environment that demanded long hours, discipline, and emotional maturity beyond her years. And although the film is often associated with warmth and nostalgia, the reality of filming was more complex, involving strict schedules, repeated takes, changing weather conditions in the Austrian Alps, and the pressures that come with being part of a large-scale Hollywood production led by an experienced director and a professional adult cast, which meant that the child actors, including Angela Cartwright, had to adapt quickly to a structured and demanding environment while still maintaining the natural innocence and charm that the film required on screen. And over time she has explained in interviews and public discussions that while the experience was exciting and memorable, it was not always as effortless or magical as audiences might assume when watching the final polished product, because filmmaking at that level required patience and endurance, especially for children who had to balance education, emotional demands, and long shooting days. And even though there is no indication of extreme controversy or lasting harm from the set itself, she has occasionally pointed out that working conditions in that era of filmmaking were very different from modern standards, particularly for child actors, who today would likely have more structured protections and shorter working hours. And this contrast helps explain why her reflections sometimes sound more serious or revealing than the romantic image fans associate with the film, since she is essentially describing the reality behind a beloved cultural landmark rather than a scandal. And it is important to understand that her comments are often about the natural challenges of filmmaking rather than dramatic conflict, because The Sound of Music remains widely regarded as a well-run production with a strong sense of professionalism among the cast and crew, including Julie Andrews and Christopher Plummer, who themselves have spoken about the intensity and scale of the project in more technical and reflective terms rather than negative ones. And Angela Cartwright's perspective adds another layer to that history by showing what it was like to be a child navigating fame while also trying to do her job properly in a high-pressure environment. And as she grew older, she continued her career in television, most notably in Lost in Space, which further reinforced her experience as a child actor in major productions, giving her a unique long-term view of how the entertainment industry treats young performers. And in later years, she has embraced her connection to The Sound of Music as part of her legacy, attending reunions and speaking fondly about the friendships and opportunities it gave her, while still acknowledging that the day-to-day reality of filming required discipline, repetition, and resilience, which can sometimes surprise fans who imagine a completely carefree experience based on the film's cheerful tone. And ultimately her reflections are less about something bad in a dramatic sense and more about offering honest insight into the difference between on-screen magic and behind-the-scenes work, reminding audiences that even the most beloved films are created through effort, structure, and the experiences of real people, including children who were learning their craft while participating in one of Hollywood's most iconic productions.